Welcome to SBU 67D Principles of Management 1. My name is Felicia Frida and We're going to continue our discussion in this Unit 3 Environment, Social and Ethical Responsibilities of Businesses. We are going to focus our discussion in session 2, the tax environment. By the end of this session, you should be able to explain the nature of the tax environment as well as list and explain at least 5 forces of the tax environment. In the earlier session, I told you about the environment of the business, which virtually affects or influences the business, and the business also influences or affects the variables or the factors in here. And I made mention that we have the internal, then we have the external. In the external is where we find the tax environment. And we made mention that these are also uncontrollable. However, we realize that they are within the industry in which the business finds itself, unlike the general one, which affects the whole nation, the whole world, or the whole globe, which the business finds is very, very hard, and you may have to just look out for optimizing the opportunities in there and minimizing the threats that are coming. We're going to look at the tax environment, the forces within it. We have the customers. At the end of the day, these are the main consumers of our product. And you know that in this world now we find ourselves, business is all about what? Delighting your customers. At the end of the day, if you produce and your customers don't buy, how would you be sustainable as a business? If your customers also put you in a tight corner where they don't want to pay the right prices for the thing, or they buy and they don't want to pay for it, there's debt and all those things, you realize that the product or the business is going to also what? Not function properly. And so customers affect the business when it comes to our productivity, because they would have to pay us for it to be able to get money to continue the cycle. The business also what has to look out for them, because they also have needs they want to what us to satisfy with the product we have in mind for them. We also have our competitors. Whatever you do within the industry, there are going to be other competitors who are directly competing with what you are doing. That means what you do, they're also doing the same thing, so people can just switch to them. Like if you want to buy petrol in Ghana, you can go to Shell, you can go to Total, you can go to the other smaller ones too as well. You realize that they can be indirect. So let's say I want to buy Coca-Cola, and at the end of the day, so or I don't have Coke at my availability. At the end of the day, a direct competitor is Pepsi. But if I don't want to go for Pepsi or something, worst case, if I'm not getting or I don't feel for it too much, I want something to drink, I can equally go in to buy some Sobolo or some fruit juice or buy some Blue Skies and still drink. At the end of the day, I'd have enjoyed some drink to quench my thirst in a hot sunny day. And so these are what indirect competitors. And competitors make or make your business, because at the end of the day, you may be competing with them for the same market. Your profit margins and all those things is going to what affect your business. At the end of the day, the business also affects competitors, because sometimes you can force your competitors to reduce prices and all those things because of what the value you're also putting in there. And you may also have to end up sharing some resources with your competitors at a point to be able to leverage in the market. And so you realize that competitors have an influence on the business, and the business also what influences competitors as well. Suppliers are very key, because we need raw materials, we need inputs from them. At the end of the day, if you have suppliers who supply you things which are outdated or spoiled or with defect or even at the wrong time, you realize that your production efficiency will not be there, because you can't meet your customers' demand as and when they need it. Products will be short and all those things. But if you have very good suppliers too, you realize that it's also going to make you more productive, more efficient in your productivity as well. The same thing with the business. If you are not in existence, that means your suppliers will lose customers as well, and their margins would also go down. It's the same thing that if the suppliers, how do you call it? If you can't really directly control these people, but at the end of the day, sometimes you may have to take advantage of it, of the opportunities there, and you may minimize the threat. And so businesses today, you may have like other backup suppliers you'd work with, because mind you, you may feel like, oh, if one supplier is misbehaving, I'll go to the other supplier, but suppliers may not be that easy to come by. They may not get you the quality you need, the quantities you need, and sometimes even buying from different people, the cost becomes higher as compared to buying larger volume from one person. And so it's not an easy thing about sole sourcing or multiple sourcing. And these days, you realize some business have even moved to doing just in time, just to manage some of their losses and control inventory. And so when they get an order, then they link up with the supply, they get it, and they produce and they go. That reduces the holding costs and other costs with business. However, if you have a bad supplier who can't work with time and all those things, they also have employees. These people are the manpower in our businesses, and employees are very critical in there. If you treat your employees well, you realize that they're going to give a lot of work satisfaction, they're going to give a lot of input or output for your business, and your business is going to make a lot when it comes to effectiveness and efficiency. However, if your employees are not having the requisite skills and knowledge, and they are not even willing to do the work, there's a lot of defect, a lot of complaints, a lot of errors and all those things. And sometimes even turnover will be high. And so they'll come, they'll leave, you have to train another person, the person also comes, leaves, and the cost just keeps compounding. So you realize that employees also depend on the business, because at the end of the day, their salaries, their wages, their remuneration, their benefit is all from what? The business. And so everyone who is working somewhere would hope that at the end of the day, the lecturers in the university, the administrators, the cleaners, everybody in the university system is always hoping that the university should still be alive, so that at the end of the day, they can also make their money, get their pensions and things, and then be able to survive. The business also needs these people to be able to produce for their customers. You also have the labor unions or the pressure groups. You realize that these people are also looking out for the interest of their people. So whether it is suppliers traders union or it is the employee trader unions and all those ones, in Ghana we have notable ones like UTAG, TEWU, GPRTU, TUC, and all of these labor unions. They're all looking for the interest of their people, and they affect the business. We've seen the university come on lockdown or gone on strike because UTAG has laid down their tools, because TEWU has laid down their tools. They have an effect on the business. The business also has effect on these labor unions as well. And so it is very key for us to look out for these in our tax environment. We also have special interest groups who oversee some special issues for which businesses are supposed to also look out for. So these days when people are looking at gender issues and things, you may have people coming up with female issues, gender issues. You have people who are looking out for the environment, and so these people, you have to also be able to satisfy them, else they'll just paint your business as a bad business and those things, which is going to affect you as well. You also have financial institutions. You know that a lot of the activities in the business actually need money. It's just a few activities of the business that actually brings money in there. And so financial institutions matter a lot. If you're not in good standings with your financial institution, you won't be able to go in for the fund to even pay your employees, for the funds to run your day-to-day operations, for the fund to do the capital intensive projects like having a new facility and all those things. These financial institutions also need the business, because the more we go for loans from them, the more they also make money from their what interest and all those things. And your financial institutions will be looking out for your business to grow and to be in existence for a long time, so that they'll have good business with you and they can also make their money on you. And so you realize that the business affects these financial institutions, and these financial institutions also affect the business as well. The media is also looking out for the public interest or the interest of the good of the public, and so that's why whenever there's anything happening anywhere, the media folks are on the high to go and find out what is happening in there. And they have a great effect on the business, because if the media puts their eye on you and you go into their bad books, the goodwill of the company goes down, patronage and all those things become something else. And it's the same thing, the business also affects the media as well, because some of the things we do may not be to their advantage, some of the things we do may also be to their advantage, which is on the good side. And we also have the shareholders, the board of directors, who are also key in the tax environment. Don't forget that shareholders have their monies in those businesses. At the end of the day, they are hoping that the business will be in existence for them to get perpetual income from the businesses. They're also hoping the business will be very profitable and efficient and effective, such that their dividends will flow to them on a regular basis. Board of directors are also there to do the checks and balances, so that at the end of the day, the managing directors and co do their work, and then the shareholders' interest is always taken care of. So in this session, we focused on the tax environment of the organization, where we looked at the forces in the tax environment. Thank you, and see you in the next session.